The year 2633. In the swirling currents of time, some stories are lost, swallowed by the dark. But not all. On the distant island of Galuga, a nightmare awakens, threatening to consume humanity. They called it Red Falcon. We called it Hell. They sent us, 2 soldiers, 2 ghosts, 2 hearts of steel. No retreat, no compromise, only one mission: eradicate the source of the terror. This wasn't a fight for glory. This was a fight for survival. And we were Contra.
It was the year 2633. News from Galuga Island, a lush green paradise in the heart of the Pacific, sent shockwaves across the globe. A mysterious extraterrestrial entity calling itself Red Falcon had landed, transforming the vibrant rainforest into a colossal military base, a grotesque fusion of alien technology and mutated organisms. The roars of alien creatures and devastating explosions constantly tore through the night, signaling a threat far beyond any conflict humanity had ever known. The global government, after numerous failed investigations and heavy losses, was forced to dispatch its 2 most elite operatives from the Contra force, warriors trained to face unimaginable threats. They were Bill Reiser and Lance Bean. Bill Reiser, with his short blonde hair and bulging muscles, was the embodiment of raw power and courage. He was a combat machine forged from countless battles, possessing vast experience and an uncanny survival instinct. His eyes always held a look of grim determination, never backing down from danger. Beside Bill was Lance Bean, a man with long, neatly tied brown hair, outwardly calmer, but concealing incredible agility and adaptability. Lance was a gifted marksman. His eyes could spot an enemy's weakness even in the deepest shadows. He was the rational one, always analyzing situations and making clear-headed decisions, perfectly complementing Bill's explosive force. They arrived on Galuga in a heavy attack helicopter, piercing through dense, ominous clouds. The air in the cabin was thick with tension. The helicopter's rotor blades roared, drowning out the heavy rain outside. Lance checked his assault rifle, the metallic click echoing crisply. Bill silently wiped clean the blade of his sharp combat knife, his gaze fixed on the faint, flickering display of Galuga's terrain. Lance, calm but tense. The advance team, none of them returned. We're the last hope. Bill, nodding slightly, eyes cold. Then we'll finish their mission. The helicopter touched down in a damp clearing, surrounded by shredded palm trees and the scars of a fierce skirmish. Smoke still rose from the charred remains of burned-out tanks. The pungent smell of gunpowder mixed with the sickening odor of decaying flesh assailed their nostrils. The moment their boots hit ground, a chilling sensation enveloped them. The jungle ahead, which should have been teeming with life, was eerily silent. Only the buzzing of insects and the drip of water from the dense canopy could be heard. Flickering light filtered through the tree cover, casting bizarre shadows. Suddenly, a low, guttural growl emanated from deep within the shadows. A colossal creature, its body covered in tough scales, its eyes glowing red like embers, burst forth from the undergrowth. It was one of Red Falcon's mutated minions, a hybrid of reptile and insect, with claws as sharp as razors and jagged teeth. Bill, lunging forward without hesitation, Lance, left. Bill opened fire with his assault rifle, bullets tearing through the air and embedding themselves in the creature's tough scales. Its enraged roar echoed through the jungle. Lance skillfully dodged its lunge, then fired repeatedly at a weakness he'd just spotted, a small crack in the armor on its neck. The monster staggered, green blood spurting out. It tried to retaliate in desperation, but Bill was faster. He charged, performing a slide under its legs, then finished it with a fatal knife thrust into its belly. The creature let out a final shriek, then collapsed to the ground, its massive body hitting with a thud. They stood there, breathing heavily, smoke rising from their gun barrels. The battle had only just begun. The jungle ahead seemed to swallow them whole, and danger still lurked in the shadows. They had to push deeper into Red Falcon's territory, step by step, to find and destroy the heart of this threat. The journey into hell had officially begun.
Bill and Lance continued to push deeper into the jungle. Night fell, transforming the forest into a dark and terrifying labyrinth. The light from their flashlights was only enough to illuminate a few meters ahead, where bizarre trees reached towards the sky like skeletal fingers. The air grew heavier, thick with the damp smell of decaying earth and a strange metallic odor. They heard noises, not the chirping of insects, nor the calls of birds. It was the clang of machinery, heavy footsteps, and low, guttural growls. This jungle was no longer natural. It had become an extension of Red Falcon's base. "Something up ahead," Lance whispered, gesturing for them to stop. Bill's flashlight beam swept across the path. A narrow road appeared, but it wasn't natural. It was a path constructed from jagged metal shards mixed with the bones and flesh of unknown creatures. On either side, cleverly camouflaged automated traps were ready to fire at any moment. Suddenly, from above, a colossal shadow lunged down. It was a gorilla-like creature, but its body was covered in metallic plates and its eyes glowed bright red. It was a Gatling gorilla, a living machine that had been genetically modified, equipped with a Gatling gun on its arm. Bill, pulling Lance out of its path. "Take cover." They ducked behind large, ancient trees. The monster's Gatling gun roared, tearing through leaves and shattering rocks around them. Bill popped up, firing back. The bullets ricocheted off the creature's armor, causing little damage. "Lance, armor's too thick. Gotta find a weak spot." They moved continuously, dodging the Gatling gorilla's deadly bursts of fire. Bill spotted a small gap in its shoulder joint when it raised its arm to fire. He signaled to Lance. "Shoulder joint, now!" As the monster prepared to unleash another barrage, Lance quickly aimed and fired. A precise shot lodged in its shoulder joint, causing a loud clang. The monster staggered, its machine gun arm going awry. This was their chance. Bill charged out of cover, running straight towards the creature. It roared, trying to aim its gun at him, but the shoulder wound had slowed it down. Bill slid under its legs, then leaped up, clinging to its armored back. The monster furiously thrashed, trying to shake Bill off. Lance continued to provide covering fire, distracting it. Bill quickly found another weakness, a small opening on its protected neck. He pulled out his combat knife and plunged it in forcefully. A powerful electric current surged through the creature's body. It let out a final pained roar, then collapsed, leaving a trail of green blood on the ground. They continued their journey, passing through damp tunnels and the ruins of an abandoned military base. Everything here was deformed, distorted by Red Falcon's touch. Mutated plants stretched out grotesquely, and old machinery was covered in rust and alien slime. "Lance, we're getting closer. This feeling, it's not of Earth." "Bill, whatever it is, we'll find it and put an end to it." They entered a more open area, but the air was still thick with danger. Around them, colossal cocoons hung suspended from the tree branches, inside which unidentified creatures coiled. The slightest sound could awaken them. Suddenly, a massive metal wall blocked their path. It was a heavily fortified gate, protected by automated turrets and deadly laser beams. This was the entrance to Red Falcon's main complex, and they knew that to get through, they would have to face much greater challenges. Red Falcon's gate loomed before them, a colossal metal structure covered in jagged spikes and heavy cannons. On either side were sheer cliffs, impassable. The only way was straight through the gate. "This needs a plan," Lance said, meticulously observing the turrets and laser beams. Bill nodded. "We can't just storm it, we need a diversion." They took cover behind a large rock, analyzing the situation. The
The turrets swept continuously, and deadly laser beams formed an impenetrable network. They realized that these turrets were controlled by a central system located in a small guard post above the gate. Lance, if I can get to that guard post, I can disable them. Bill, it won't be easy. There are plenty of guards and mutated creatures defending the entrance. Their plan formed. Bill would create a massive distraction at the front of the gate, drawing enemy attention, while Lance would use his climbing and stealth abilities to approach the guard post from the flank. Bill, smirking. Ready to make some noise? Lance, a rare smile. Always. Bill began. He used stun grenades to create small explosions, then fired his rifle at weak points on the fortress wall, generating large sparks. His gunfire echoed throughout the area, immediately drawing the attention of guards and mutated creatures. Smaller monsters, like giant beetles, began crawling out of cracks in the wall, rushing towards Bill. While Bill fought bravely, drawing all enemy fire, Lance moved swiftly. He clung to rock ledges, using obstacles for cover, scaling the sheer cliffs as silently as a ghost. The sound of gunfire and explosions from Bill's side below helped Lance conceal his own movements. He reached the guard post. 2 guards were focused on Bill below. Lance drew his combat knife, acting in a blur. The 2 soldiers fell without a sound. He quickly entered, searching for the control panel. The control panel was complex, with countless buttons and strange screens. Lance quickly scanned it, looking for the symbol of the defense system. He spotted a screen displaying a schematic of the laser network and turrets. With astonishing speed, he disabled several key circuits. A shrill beep sounded, followed by a loud mechanical hum. The turrets ceased operation, their laser beams dying out. The colossal gates slowly began to open, revealing a dark tunnel leading inside. Bill, having eliminated most of the monsters and guards, heard the hum and saw the gate opening. He let out a satisfied grunt, knowing Lance had completed his part of the mission. He quickly retreated, heading towards the gate, leaving behind a chaotic battlefield. They met at the tunnel entrance, breathing heavily. Impressive. Almost got roasted out there. Lance, you too. Now, let's go. The worst is still ahead. The tunnel was pitch black, with only faint light emanating from strange machinery inside. The air was damp, and the smell of burning electronics mixed with the stench of rotting flesh became even more pungent. They knew this was just the beginning of what awaited them deep inside Red Falcon's base.
Inside the gate lay a chaotic world of alien technology and mutated organisms. The tunnel led them into a colossal factory where massive machines operated relentlessly, churning out grotesque hybrid creatures. The clang of metal, the roar of machinery, and the groans of tortured beings created a symphony of hell. They had to navigate deadly conveyor belts, enormous crushing presses, and pools of toxic liquid. Robot guards with glowing red laser eyes patrolled constantly, and mutated creatures crawled out of cracks in the walls. One particularly terrifying area was where living organisms were being genetically altered. Colossal cocoons filled with green liquid hung from the ceiling, inside which deformed shapes writhed and grew. The gasps and thumping heartbeats from within the cocoons created a chilling atmosphere. While moving through a narrow corridor, they were suddenly attacked by small but incredibly agile flying robots equipped with laser guns. They darted erratically, firing deadly energy beams. "They're too fast! Split up!" They split, using pillars and machinery for cover. Bill fired his rifle at one robot, but it quickly dodged. Lance, with his precise marksmanship, aimed for weak spots on their wings. One by one, the robots were shot down, exploding into fragments of metal and electrical sparks. After passing through the industrial labyrinth, they entered an area that looked like a colossal cavern
but everything was horribly distorted. The cavern walls were covered in layers of flesh and bone, pulsating with strange biological lights. Green blood flowed on the floor, and the air was thick with a foul stench. This was where Red Falcon experimented with and mutated living organisms. They saw colossal monsters with multiple eyes and limbs confined within energy cages. Some had escaped, roaming the cavern seeking prey. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A colossal creature emerged from a pool of viscous liquid. It was a giant eye attached to a grotesque body with numerous tentacles and sharp fangs. This was a wall brain, a defensive organism created by Red Falcon to guard important areas. It let out a horrific roar, and its tentacles began to sweep across the cavern, trying to grab them. From its central eye, laser beams shot out, creating large explosions on the walls. "Lance, its eye! That's the weak spot!" They began firing at the creature's eye. The bullets ricocheted off its protective membrane, causing little damage. It moved constantly, making aiming difficult. Bill noticed that after each laser barrage, its eye would blink, revealing the pupil within. He signaled to Lance. "Bill, when it blinks, shoot it." They waited. The wall brain fired another volley of lasers. The moment it blinked, both opened fire. The bullets embedded themselves directly into its eye. The monster roared in pain but didn't give up. They continued this tactic, dodging deadly tentacles and laser beams, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Finally, after many precise shots, the wall brain's eye exploded, spewing black fluid. Its grotesque body convulsed violently, then collapsed, turning into a pile of viscous flesh. They pressed deeper, the roar of machinery and the groans of creatures gradually fading, replaced by an eerie silence. They knew they were nearing the heart of Red Falcon's base, where the main threat lay hidden.
Bill and Lance entered a vast area where the air was hot and suffocating. Steam rose from broken pipes, and the heavy clang of machinery echoed throughout the space. This was Red Falcon's industrial heart, where it manufactured weapons and soldiers. They had to navigate moving walls, massive crushing machines, and robot guards equipped with flamethrowers. This space was a deadly labyrinth of steel and machinery designed to crush any intruder. From overhead pipes, colossal spider robots with sharp metallic legs constantly descended, attacking them. They fired electromagnetic beams and sprayed venom, forcing Bill and Lance to constantly move and dodge. "Lance, too many of them! Gotta find a way to cut the power!" They realized that these spiders were controlled by a central unit located above, a signal emitter blinking with red light. Bill and Lance coordinated perfectly, one providing cover, the other moving swiftly to reach the device. Lance leaped onto a conveyor belt, then used pipes to climb higher. He continuously fired at the pursuing spiders, while Bill on the ground drew their attention. Finally, Lance reached the control device and destroyed it with a burst of gunfire. The clanging of the spiders ceased, and they fell to the ground, inert. After passing through the mechanical area, they entered a long, dark corridor. Red laser beams swept across the corridor rhythmically, and massive saw blades emerged from the walls, slicing through everything in their path. This was a death trap, designed to crush and tear apart anyone who tried to pass. Bill and Lance had to time their movements perfectly, dodging laser beams and weaving through the saw blades in split seconds. Bill, gasping, This is truly a killing machine. Lance, it's like they're trying to buy time or waiting for someone. They finally escaped the deadly corridor, stepping into a colossal circular room. Dim light from strange control screens illuminated the space. In the center of the room, a massive machine hummed, emitting guttural engine sounds.
It was a colossal war machine, a hybrid of tank, robot, and mutated creature equipped with countless heavy weapons. This was the Fortress Guard, one of Red Falcon's final lines of defense. It turned its head, aiming its colossal cannons at them. The screens on its body flickered, displaying targets. "Bill, get ready, Lance. This is going to be a big one." The machine opened fire. Cannon shells and missiles flew out, leveling all obstacles in the room. Bill and Lance moved constantly, dodging the deadly attacks. They fired back, but the bullets seemed unable to penetrate its thick armor. "Lance, there has to be a weak spot. Where's its power coming from?" Bill saw large power cables running along the machine's body, leading to a glowing energy core at the back. "Bill, energy core at the back. We need to get behind it." They began to circle the machine, drawing its attention. The Fortress Guard slowly turned, trying to keep up with them. Bill lunged to one side, while Lance drew fire. As the machine turned its back to attack Bill, Lance quickly moved behind it, aiming at the energy core. The bullets struck the core, causing large electrical sparks. The colossal machine shook violently. It tried to retaliate, but it was too late. Cracks appeared on its body, and glowing blue electricity began to leak out. With a massive explosion, the Fortress Guard's energy core detonated. The entire machine collapsed, turning into a pile of molten metal and debris. The alarms blared throughout the base. They had defeated one of the final defenses, but they knew that the blaring alarms meant Red Falcon was aware of their presence. The final battle was coming. Alarms blared throughout the base, creating a chaotic atmosphere. Bill and Lance ran through crumbling corridors, past torn walls, heading towards the epicenter of roars and explosions. They arrived at a vast, domed area where the air was thick with the stench of decay and electricity. This was Red Falcon's main lair. The sight that unfolded before them was horrifying. Hundreds, even thousands of mutated creatures crawled everywhere. Giant beetles, reptile-like beings, flying monsters soaring above, all turned towards a colossal organic structure in the center of the cavern. It was Red Falcon. It wasn't a single creature, but a gigantic, pulsating, viscous mass of living matter with countless glowing red eyes and sharp, fanged mouths. It was a colossal biological entity, a grotesque fusion of flesh and technology, with tentacles protruding from everywhere, controlling the surrounding machinery and creatures. It let out a horrifying roar, and the entire cavern shook. The surrounding monsters began to rush towards Bill and Lance. "This is it! Lance, find its core!" They began firing into the horde of monsters, trying to clear a path to Red Falcon. Their bullets tore through the swarm, but their numbers were endless. From colossal cocoons on the walls, new creatures constantly emerged. Red Falcon began to attack. Its enormous tentacles lashed out everywhere, trying to grab them. From the mouths on its body, deadly energy lasers and noxious projectiles were fired. Lance, dodging a laser beam. "It doesn't seem to have a clear weak spot. It's too big." They moved continuously, searching for an opening. Bill noticed several parts on Red Falcon's body that pulsed with faint light before it attacked. These were smaller energy cores, powering its entire being. "Those glowing points! Focus fire!" They began firing at these glowing points. Each time a point was destroyed, Red Falcon convulsed in pain, and a part of its body weakened. But it was still incredibly strong, and the mutated creatures attacked relentlessly. The battle became desperate. Bill and Lance were exhausted, ammunition running low, but they wouldn't give up. They knew this was humanity's last chance. After destroying several energy cores, Red Falcon let out an excruciating roar of pain. Its tentacles became weaker, and its laser beams became erratic. It revealed a colossal main core, pulsating like a diseased heart deep within its body. "That's it! Its heart!" Bill and Lance poured all their remaining firepower into the main core. Bullets tore through the viscous flesh, embedding themselves directly into the core. Red Falcon's roar became weaker, then devolved into a dying gurgle.
With a tremendous explosion, Red Falcon's main core detonated, tearing its entire body apart. A massive shockwave spread throughout the cavern, blowing away the remaining mutated creatures. Green and black fluid sprayed everywhere, and Red Falcon's entire structure collapsed. The base began to shake violently. The cavern ceiling started to collapse, and the walls cracked open. "Run! The base is gonna blow!" They rushed out of the lair, running for their lives through crumbling corridors, dodging falling debris. Massive explosions echoed behind them as Red Falcon's entire base erupted into fragments, creating a colossal column of smoke and fire that rose high into the sky. They escaped outside, collapsing onto the clearing, gasping for breath. Behind them, Galuga Island was engulfed in a massive cloud of smoke. The threat had been eliminated. Humanity was saved.
Galuga Island, once a paradise, now just a scar on the earth. Red Falcon was destroyed. But is it truly dawn? Or is it just one of many threats waiting in the cosmic shadows? They are Contra, nameless warriors, always ready to face the impossible. Because when darkness falls, when all hope seems lost, only those like them can stand firm. And the war will never end. Because there's always another Contra, another war, and another story waiting.